Hello, everyone. We're excited to be here on International Women's Day. So happy International Women's Day to all of you out there. Today is the first episode of the Empower podcast. So, Ryan, we're going to talk a little bit about International Women's Day. I'm going to talk about what it means to me, and then I'm going to let you talk about what it means to you. Obviously, as a woman, it means a lot to me. We need International Women's Day. We need to celebrate the women that are working or staying at home or doing whatever they want, and women being empowered to do whatever it is that they need and they want. And that, for me, is probably one of the things that drives me every day to do a little bit more, to speak up a little bit more, to use my voice, take up space, do all the things as a woman, because I'm doing that for myself, but especially for my daughters, for other women that I work with that I know, for everybody. You know, to me, celebrating International Women's Day is so, it's emotional, it's fun, it's kind of all the things. Yeah. And I know you feel really strongly about this day as well.
Yeah, this is very befitting that we're launching the Empower podcast on this day. Absolutely. Not only because we all have mothers and because the world is half powered by women, but because of all the amazing things that have come about in the course of history that have probably been overlooked. Obviously, the Empower podcast is not exclusively about women. It is about empowerment, and that belongs to everybody. Yeah. But I'm particularly excited about launching it today because I am the father of two daughters. I work with amazing people like you for years and years that have shaped my life. I obviously have a very powerful mother and grandmother that influenced my life. And so for me, it's just really important because we are building the world that our children are going to thrive in. And so this is all part of that journey. So I love it. This is great. And this podcast is very much about that.
And we're going to have men and women
for sure
as guests on this.
We already have
all the time. Yeah. We have recorded several, and it's been fun seeing that mix. But there will be a lot of, women who are going to get inspired by this podcast, women who are going to be featured on this podcast. It's a podcast for men and women to really enjoy and participate in and everything.
Well, and think about it. Our business, we're in nearly 50 countries around the globe. We represent nearly half the population of the world, at least the developed world. And half of that is women. Our business very much is this amazing ecosystem, men and women coming together, working together, building brighter futures for other people, which is all about empowerment. So you're right. We're going to hit all topics from all different perspectives, but it's going to be fun.
I'm excited for it. Yeah. Let's talk about you.
The elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room.
This amazing. It's called the Miami J.
The Miami J neck brace.
Yeah. It's a fashion
I know if people
statement.
are listening to this on audio, they might not see that you are wearing a beautiful fashion piece that is a neck brace. But
this is great. This is great. So we felt like we needed to just have a little bit of a discussion on this because as we launch out the episode, some of the episodes we've recorded over the last month or so, and there's no new bedazzled jewelry on the other of a neck brace, and then there will be some that obviously have this for the next couple of months. And so I think just hitting the nail on the head. Was back actually in these mountains behind. You can see back behind that a couple of weeks ago, having an amazing ski day, backcountry, nobody around, just a couple of friends and I, and took a spill going through a ditch to get up onto the road, and broke my neck. Fractured a few vertebrae.
2 places. Right?
T1, T2, and then pulled all the muscles in the back of my neck. So I'm going to be wearing this for the next couple of months. But other than looking really strange when we turn, it's not too bad.
Right. But I mean, it's taught you a lot of, first of all, I'm grateful that
it wasn't worse.
Yes. Like as bad as it could have been, that you're strong and resilient, like your body and mentally, like grateful that doctors and everything like are
Well,
able to
when I
help.
slid out of the ditch,
Right. So
and
that's important.
I heard my neck. I
And you
describe
were
it
by
as
yourself at this point because your friends
yeah,
were ahead.
they were
right?
ahead of me. But I describe it as a bag of Cheetos crunching in your neck. I heard it break, and I remember just sliding to a stop. And I couldn't see anything. I think my helmet had flopped over my eyes. Fortunately,
Right.
I was wearing a helmet. And so I thought, okay, I can't move and I can't see. So my first
And you
thought
were all
was,
alone
what kind
at that point.
of paraplegic am I going to be, or quadriplegic? And it was kind of a weird thing. I started to think about Instagram and these people I follow, the wheelchair dad, these people that
Right.
go through amazing challenges. And I'm like, could I be that type of person? And I'm sitting there while I'm just laying there by myself in the snow, what's going to happen? Now, fortunately, as my friends came back up, they helped me to start to move things, and we couldn't quite, we couldn't get any service to call anybody, and we were a couple of miles away. So we ended up eventually getting up, and I could move my fingers and my toes, found my balance back, and then had my friend put the skis on.
And you had a 2-mile trek.
We had to ski
Down
out
to
2 miles. So we skied out. My buddies took my backpack, my poles, and I just kind of held my head up down for 2 miles because I kept flopping to the left. So I just kind of held it up.
Your muscles were
the muscles were gone. At that point, I knew I was okay. Other than I knew my neck was broken,
Right.
but the muscles were the problem. So skied out. Got to the hospital, had amazing doctors. A good friend of mine who's an orthopedic surgeon showed up, did all the CTs, MRIs, the scans over hours, and the neurosurgeon cleared me, said the spine looks good, just some breaks. But to your point, truly, truly, truly being grateful every single day for movement, because as we know, we rely on movement for much more than just the physical.
Right.
It's the mental side. And we've had this discussion about how important exercise is and activity is for just mental health. And that's been a huge part of my journey the last 15 years or so. And so just it's every day I say a prayer of thanks and gratitude for movement and being able to do that.
And I mean, there's some good life lessons in this, right?
Yeah.
First, 15
wear a
years.
helmet.
Well, wear a helmet. That's the first one.
Always wear a
Have
helmet.
friends with you, right?
friends.
Surround yourself with some
With
great
good friends.
people,
Yep.
so you
Yep.
need some
Surround
good
yourself
friends.
with friends. Yeah.
Yeah. You missed a few things because you didn't have your GPS with you. I believe you have a brother who lectured you a little bit about going off grid.
But
But
that's a brother
that's
that rescue does
that's something
helicopter search
that we
and
can
rescue.
learn later.
Yeah.
But the preparation beforehand, the 15 years of being in the habit and disciplined and fit, made a big difference when hard times came on, right?
Well, you and I do CrossFit, right?
I used to. I don't anymore.
One of the things the doc said when looking at my vertebrae were that they were kind of compressed already. And so she was like, "What? Like, why are these compressed?" And the answer, well, I do these handstand pushes, right? In CrossFit, that's a big part of it. And so you're incessantly like hitting your head on this little 2-inch mat while you're doing push-ups. So doing that over 5, 6, 7 years kind of eroded the discs in my neck. But the positive side is it compressed my neck so that it was pretty strong, and so
gave
it
you
endured
muscles
the
to
so it
be
endured
strong as
the accident.
Yeah.
So physical prep is right, and you're right, and then just being aware of what's going to go on that way. But I think also for me again the journey around, because it has been a frustrating couple of weeks.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Of not of waking up, like I don't sleep at night, right? So you're waking up and you have these headaches, and it takes me almost like an hour and a half just to get TENS device, get the current going, and try to get a little bit of flexibility but then it's like, okay, get on the exercise bike. Like, what can you do regardless? And so Peloton's become my best friend. It's every day. It's biking on that. It's using bands. Just staying mobile and active is how you keep, for me, it's the one thing I can always go back to keep my mental health in check. And I think that it's just like solidified that it's always been part of my routine, but how critical that part of the routine is to showing up and being your best self every day.
But being flexible enough to find something that you can do.
Whatever
you've had
it
to
is.
be flexible and find another way to have that.
Yeah, I've got
that
a buddy of
physical
mine.
and mental release.
Yeah.
And I think I think these are life lessons that are important. When we
Yeah,
hit
you
these
can always
obstacles,
do-
when we have these accidents, like,
You can always
how do you
do
adjust?
something,
How do you change?
right?
What do you do?
Yeah, and you always do something. And I think having goals are so important, right? So it's like, I have a buddy who's training for a triathlon next September, and he's heavy into cycling. And so I'm like, okay, hey, Joe, I'll get my cycling up over the next couple of months so that I'm going to push you over the next couple of months while he's training for that enduro ride that he's doing. So, but just having that goal so that we're focused on the outcome instead of the process of the pain today, and it's not moving forward as much as I want. It's just like, no, I can do that. I'm working towards a goal. And I think that's applicable to anything in life for sure. So yeah, a lot of life lessons through the process. And that's what the podcast is going to highlight, by the way.
Absolutely.
Like what I've loved so far, Kathy, about the people. We've interviewed several, from founders, leaders, other business executives. It all comes down to this whole idea that everyone's journey is different. Everyone's path to success, well, everyone's definition of success is a little different.
Right.
Everyone's definition of empowerment is different. Everyone's path to get there is different. But it's really cool to see every journey, the consistent threads that are persistent through every empowerment journey.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
And I think it is going to be fun. And I think people will find something in every episode that is pertinent to what we need in life, to keep us going, to focus us, to do these things. And I just love that. Anything else you want to say about your accident?
No, other than I can't wait to get out of this neck brace. And we're excited about the next, again, it's the next couple of months. So some of the episodes will be neck brace free,
and some will be without.
Some will be without. But we've just been recording these, and this is something that's going to go on. And I think we have another podcast we'll set up for this, right? That will talk about the framing of all this.
Yeah. So we're going to actually, if you stay tuned for the next couple minutes, we'll go to, because I had the chance to interview you a couple weeks ago, right before your accident, to introduce just you and some of your background and your personal story. So we've kind of talked about your accident, but we have another one that we're going to go right into at this point, that is getting to know Ryan a little bit better and just
set up the podcast,
who you are, and setting up the podcast. But
That'll
also
be great.
You as the primary host of this, really for people to understand your story, and then how you're using this to interview other people.
Yeah, and I would just say stay tuned, because every story that we're going through, like these are brilliant people, some of the most talented people I've ever met in my life, and each one of them has their own story. And so the podcast is here to facilitate their stories, but hopefully inspire anyone listening to define their own story of empowerment, and realizing that we all have that within us to empower ourselves. And so, let's go to that cut.
So everyone, you can listen to this podcast on
Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's available there. Like it, follow it, or watch us, I guess.
Yeah,
if
on
you want to see it.
YouTube. Subscribe, share it.
Yep.
We want everybody getting this message out there for everyone. And then also on Instagram, we'll have it on our New Skin Instagram, and also Ryan.
At Ryan Napierski, or Ryan _Napierski. So you can access it anyway, but we're looking forward to building this throughout the year. The more people we get to like it, to follow it, to subscribe to it, the better it is, and the better guests that we'll be bringing along. So thank you very much for tuning in.
Yeah.
Let's go to the first episode.